So finally, next week, we're going to be getting some information, videos, gameplay, and a whole bunch of more stuff from Rockstar officially for GTA 6. It's been way too long. The screenshots are great and all. The announcement of pre-orders was pretty cool, but it doesn't really show what we really want to see. Everybody's waiting for some more footage. We got to see the game itself, not just screenshots of it like that. So we only have about 10 more days until Rockstar officially does reveal that, but they didn't really reveal what's going to be in the actual extended look that they call it next week. So breaking it down with the information that we have, this is definitely going to be a lot more than just a screenshot or a few screenshots and a 2-minute video. This is going to be on Netflix, and usually for something like that, it's going to obviously have to be a good amount of time. Now, it is a little bit hard to compare it previously since Rockstar has never done something like this before. Usually when they are announcing or showing games, they just release it on their YouTube channel as well as other platforms, but this is the first time that Rockstar had decided, let's just specifically have it on Netflix for the first 6 hours and then eventually release it to other platforms that they have. It's really different. It's kind of cool, but it is of course getting a lot of hate because you do have to have a Netflix subscription just to actually watch this, unless Rockstar does some type of promo with Netflix and they could have like a free trial or something like that. It does seem like that's happening, but regardless though, it is definitely a lot different to what we see in the past. So we can assume, based on when Rockstar released gameplay videos as well as also trailers for previous titles, this is pretty much around the same time where they kind of do that. So we have to assume that this extended look is not just going to be trailer 3, but also going to be trailer 3 in a way, but also with some gameplay. So I would assume the runtime would have to be a minimum of at least 10 minutes for sure. It has to be 10 minutes. If you compare the gameplay trailers that we've seen for GTA 5, that was at least around like 5 minutes. And then after that, if you combine, RDR2's gameplay 1 as well as gameplay 2, that's around 10 minutes there. So being that GTA 6 is going to be a lot more bigger than those games, it's also, a lot more different, bigger on a bigger platform, a lot more views and, a lot more people looking into it. It has to be more extended like that. So minimum for sure is going to be at least 10 minutes. And then after that, I think it's around like 10 minutes maximum, maybe like 30 minutes. There's a lot of stuff they could show, but of course they're not going to show too much since the game is coming out pretty soon, and they just want to show a basis, show exactly what people are going to be getting their hands into once they eventually buy the game. And they probably do plan on releasing some more marketing stuff before the game actually comes out, of course. So again, I think the minimum will be at least 10 minutes, and then it can go up to around like 30 minutes. So of course, what's going to actually be in the extended look is what we're really here for, and we have to of course again compare it to the gameplay that we've seen for RDR2 and GTA 5. So after going over those videos, there was 3 main types of videos that Rockstar decided to show, which was one, a lot of cutscenes for missions. They also showed a lot of gameplay that did include the HUD and UI for like weapons, and also possibly like around the environments. And then also the third thing was using parts of the Rockstar editor to show like cinematic scenes of the world and all that stuff. So definitely 100% expect all 3 of those types to be in the extended look. So obviously we kind of seen a little bit of the cutscene stuff in trailer 1 and trailer 2, so just expect it to be focused a lot more on the bigger missions. That's what I really seen from the gameplay, as well as also just more like sometimes comedic parts of the mission, just to throw a little bit of like some calm stuff in there, and then also just see like more of the more aggressive parts, more things that people will be a little left questioned about and be interested in. So definitely a lot of that for the cutscenes. Gameplay is what we all looking for real. And I mean, that's going to be really cool because Rockstar showing the HUD and UI is something that I think a lot of us have been waiting for. We haven't seen anything about that really, because Rockstar kind of just, has shown that even from the leaks that got, released, a few years ago and all that stuff, that wasn't really talked about as much. So to see the UI is going to be really cool. Mainly even in vehicles is going to be nice to see how the weapons are going to be. Maybe the weapon wheel could be showed, all of that stuff. And then cinematic scenes, I think we've seen a lot for the screenshots, so it's going to be nice to see some shots in some places that we haven't seen before, but it's definitely not going to be as crazy as the gameplay. So of course Rockstar also did have a voiceover for this, and this was from a I'm not exactly who the voice actor is or whoever it is, but regardless, she does pretty well explaining what's going to be in the game and just breaking it down, making it seem really interesting. And we had that same person for GTA 5 and the RDR2, so I do expect her to make a return for this extended look, unless they decide to have somebody new who gets to enjoy, which I think is pretty nice. And it's something else I noticed is that comparing the other gameplay to how the extended look probably is going to be is the fact that the gameplay is basically exactly how the game looks like when you actually do play it, which I think is pretty nice. Some games and some other companies might add like some improvements and some stuff like that because they're obviously going to be performing it to to the maximum, even though when it comes to the players we can't play it like that. or they might be playing, you know, some PC gameplay with extended stuff. But Rockstar does show actual raw, you know, footage, and that goes for the cutscenes, that goes for the gameplay, and all that stuff. So I think that's pretty cool. I was comparing with RDR2 and how it looks in game. It looks exactly the same. GTA 5 also was a little bit more difficult because that, of course, was really, you know, 360 how it looked. But I mean, comparing it, it pretty much was the same. But, you know, GTA 5 is completely different now with all the extended and all that stuff released. So that's pretty cool for sure. So just know how it looks in extended. That's how we're going to see the final look, most likely, unless Rockstar decides to change things up. But don't expect Rockstar to have like some edited stuff to make it like look crazier than it really is. And then also, these trailers seem to pretty much go into detail explaining the story and also the choices that you make, as well as side content that's included, and also teaches you about the in-game features that are available. So like, you know, pretty much like besides the side content, like little missions, little mini games and all that stuff, which I think is really, really cool, because there's not really much information showed at all. We know there's gonna be a lot of side activities, a lot of side mini games, missions, and all that stuff. So bringing at least some of the more bigger ones or even smaller ones really into detail is gonna be really interesting to know, and just give a lot of speculation and thoughts of what it's gonna be. The story itself is, you know, it's gonna be pretty much like a basic breakdown of how it's gonna be. It's gonna be like, yo, you start with, you know, Jason and this and that, and it just kind of breaks it down. They might show or, you know, release more information basing throughout the whole thing. And honestly, side content I'm really interested in because Rockstar did really great with it in RDR2. So seeing side content get, you know, touched upon and noticed and GTA 6's, you know, extended look is going to be something that will just give, again, more thought into it, more speculation, all that stuff. And they need to really go with it in RDR2. They're definitely going to improve in it with GTA 6. So I just, you know, really can't wait for that. And then, of course, also the map is shown a lot in the cinematic cutscenes. Usually they don't show the full like actual map, but you know, it doesn't really matter at this point because we're probably not going to get into the game releases unless Rockstar feels that it does need to get shown before. But we still have the mapping project, which usually from what we've seen in the past, from speculation of people made of you know, game maps, pretty much it's always been about the same. We also had a leak for RDR2's map before it came out, so we could also see something like that possibly, but you know, I highly doubt that. We'll have to see. But regardless though, it's gonna be pretty interesting to definitely show, you know, some more information, and you know, mapping project will of course get updated once more information does get shown, so look out for a video on that. But regardless though, that's pretty much all the stuff that we should see in the extended look. Again, pretty much you know, about 10 to 30 minute video. A lot of stuff about GTA 6 that we haven't seen before, maybe some touch upon of older things, maybe some questions that they see in the community that need to get, you know, noticed and all that stuff. So regardless though, cannot wait for this. Of course, if you guys do have any thoughts, let me know in the comment section. If you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe, put on post notifications, drop a like, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.